Village's insurance agent sells a 72-acre farm for $12 million. Villagers are fed up with a rental that's like living next to a motel. A woman was airlifted after falling from a golf cart. A road resurfacing project to start in the villages very soon. A villager flees from an attack from a schizophrenic son that's living in the villages. An assisted living facility is slapped with a lien over unpaid taxes. Suspect with stolen bicycle was apprehended sleeping in bushes near our recreation center. A dumpster diver is in hot water over a trashy appearance at their home in the villages. A rowdy patron was arrested after causing a ruckus at a restaurant in the villages. A villager's problem child with 5 DUIs is arrested after driving a golf cart. A lot of updates this week. How many holes in one's golf did we get? Letters to the editor. This and more coming up. Thanks everybody for coming to this week's updated news in the villages. Before we go any further, if I can ask everybody out there, please hit that subscribe button. It means the world to the channel. It helps the channel out tremendously to hit that subscribe button. Okay, let's get on with it. A local assisted living facility has been slapped with liens over unpaid taxes. Lady Lake Senior Living, located on County Road 466, owes more than $36,000 in unpaid water and sewer bills to the town of Lady Lake. But that unpaid bill appears to be tip of the iceberg. Lady Lake commissioners discussed the issue at their meeting Monday night at Town Hall. Lady Lake Town Manager William Lawrence indicated that the town has tried to work with the facility, which offers assisted living and memory care. He said the town proposed setting up a payment plan with Lady Lake Senior Living, but those efforts have not been successful. The facility also has other unpaid bills. The Internal Revenue Service and Lady Lake have put liens on the facility due to unpaid taxes. One option that Lady Lake has is turning off the tap, but none of the commissioners appear ready to do that. Commissioners said that it would be the residents who would suffer, and they suddenly couldn't turn on the water faucet or flush toilets. The facility has 140 beds. Commissioner John Gurley said he fears for the residents living in the facility. The people that reside there may not be receiving the health care they deserve. Commissioner pointed out that the owner of the facility is located in Brooklyn, New York. Monthly care plans at the facility start at $3,000. In 2023, Lady Lake Senior Living ran afoul of the town's code enforcement department when it was discovered that the emergency exit was found boarded over from the inside. I remember that. That's been about a year ago we reported that. And here's update number 2. A resident of the villages has been banned from a popular hair salon as part of a deal that will enable her to avoid prosecution following her arrest this past year. Emma Ants, 39, who lives at 4511 Whittington Circle in the village of DeLuna, has been allowed to enter a pretrial intervention contract that will enable her to avoid prosecution on the charge of theft, according to Sumter County court files. The contract calls for her to complete a Shoplifters Anonymous course, perform 40 hours of community service, and stay out of Salon J. Lee. If she meets those terms of the contract, the theft charge will be dismissed. A woman has been ordered to seek drug treatment after she was caught with methamphetamine in the villages. Brandy Carroll 40 of Weirsdale was placed on probation for 3 years and ordered to seek a drug evaluation after pleading no contest earlier this month in Lake County Court to a felony charge of possession of methamphetamine. That'll be her update. A villager charged with hit and run claims she never saw the golf cart that she allegedly struck with her SUV. Noreen Neverly, 75, of the village of Hillsborough, pleaded not guilty to a felony charge of hit and run this past week in Sumter County Court. The Chicago native remains free on a $5,000 bond. The son of a couple in the villages has been sentenced to 10 days in jail after he was caught driving a golf cart. Larry Raymond Patterson, 38, who lives with his parents in the Villa Della Vista West, was sentenced this past week in Lake County Court after pleading no contest to a felony charge of driving while license revoked. Patterson was driving the golf cart in an undesignated area when he was spotted at 5:45 p.m. November 16th near Village Crossroads Shopping Center, according to the Rescue Department of Lady Lake Police Department. And he's been arrested several times. He was arrested in January 2024. Patterson was arrested in 2023 when he was involved in a crash at Bonefish Grill. Either he's been drinking drugs or he's just a terrible driver. And if your license gets revoked for any reason, you're not allowed to operate a motorized vehicle, period. I don't care what that motorized vehicle is. So just know, if you get revoked, they take it serious. A villager who retrieved her husband from the square last year after he had been banished from their home has reportedly suffered another attack by him. The wife of 79-year-old Daniel Andre Janadio drove to the Sumter County Sheriff's Annex on County Road 466 and Morris Boulevard at about 4 p.m. Monday to report the attack, which had occurred at the home in the village of Winifred. Winifred's a nice area, nice location too if you like to go shopping, very convenient. Zanadio's 78-year-old wife told deputies that she told her husband that she needed to go run errands, according to arrest reports. The couple entered the garage and Zanadio grabbed his wife around her neck. He began choking her. She tried to break free. In the process, injured her toe, causing it to bleed. Zanadio had been arrested last year on a charge of battery after a domestic disturbance involving his wife at their home. He was released from jail the following day, but forbidden to return home. A Good Samaritan spotted Giamadio asleep on a bench at the square, according to a document filed with Sumter County Court. The Good Samaritan called Giamadio's wife, who immediately drove her golf cart to the square and picked him up. She took him back to the house they have owned since 2004. He was later rearrested for returning to the home in violation of a judge's order. That's kind of her fault. As a result of Monday's attack, Gianadio was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center, where he was initially held without bond. I'm not going to justify anything that's going on there. I will say this. It sounds like to me dementia, possibly Alzheimer's, personality change. You could get violent. It's something I think they need to check out. I'm not sticking my nose where it don't belong. It's just something that I know because my dad had Alzheimer's. So it's just something you need to have checked out. Please get it checked out. This guy may not really be responsible for his actions. Okay, that's going to be the updates for today. Let's get on with some more news. A well-known insurance agent, well-known in the village, has just sold her 72-acre equestrian estate in Marion County for $12 million, about 11 years after she and her late husband purchased the property for 10 times less. Connie Duff Wise sold the 72.37-acre estate known as Crane Hill Farm to Howdy Parter, LLC for $12 million on April 16, according to a deed filed with the Marion County Clerk's Office. Located at 12625 South Highway 475 in Ocala, Wise and her late husband, John Frank Wise III, purchased the property for $1.2 million in March of 2014. Hell of an investment profit there, huh? Mr. Wise, who passed away on February 20, 2024, served as the chief financial officer for the Villages for over 3 decades and was founding director of Citizens First Bank of the Villages. The couple built Crane Hill Farm due to their love of horses and polo. Additionally, Mr. Wise previously served as the chairwoman of the Florida Horse Park. Wise is probably best known around the Villages for her roles as one of the top-selling insurance agents in the area. She has multiple billboards and advertisements around the area promoting her agency, which is located just off of County Road 466. Crane Hill Farms features a large 5,055 square foot estate with multiple luxury upgrades inside and outside, including a 75-foot lap pool surrounding the cypress trees. The property also features several equestrian facilities, including a center with 14 oversized custom stall and tack room, a horse bay, and several other amenities. The site also features a large covered arena, an equipment building, and several other upgrades. According to the corporate records, Howdy Parter LLC is registered to Wyoming-based CAPC Services LLC. The company's website indicates that it specializes in assisting high net worth families, family offices, and their advisors with the implementation and an ongoing administration of Wyoming private trust companies, PTCs, and the underlying family trusts. The only thing I got to say about all that, I'll just say, an investment well done. That's all I'm going to say. To go along with that report, A well-known insurance agent in the Villages who sold a 72-acre horse farm in Marion County for $12 million has purchased a 52-acre property just north of her farm for $5.2 million. According to a deed filed at Marion County Clerk's Office, Connie Duff Wise purchased the property from Leon Ocala Holdings 1, LLC, $5,207,000 on April 16th. The property is approximately 52.7 acres in size and is situated between Southeast 12th Circle and Southeast 80th Street in Ocala. Records maintained by the Marion County Property Appraiser show the site features 2 residencies. The first home, which was built in 1997, has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and 3 fireplaces. The second home at the site, which was built in 2002, has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. According to county records, Wise purchased the new property in southeast Ocala on the same day she sold the 72.37-acre horse farm in the area for $12 million. Wise and her late husband, John Frank Wise III, purchased that property along Highway 475 in March 2014 for $1.2 million and developed it into an extravagant equestrian estate. State corporate records show that Leon Ocala Holdings LLC is registered to Benjamin Leon III, the chief executive officer of Leon Medical Centers. Well, there you go. What do you think? I know what I think, but what do you think? A villager is fed up with a short-term rental property in his neighborhood that's become like a motel. Ron Smiley, who lives in the Appalachie Villas in the village of Buttonwood, voiced his concerns this past week before the Community Development District 8 Board of Supervisors in their monthly meeting at Seabreeze Recreation Center. It's destroying our neighborhood, said Smiley, who purchased his patio villa in 2019. He said there has been high turnover in the neighboring villa, with short-term renters staying only 2 or 3 days. That would be an Airbnb. It's like a motel across the street, he said. He described college students who stayed in a home for 3 days and walked on the American flag that had fallen on the ground, as well as an oft-repeated pattern of parking on the front lawn. We asked them to move their vehicle. They didn't. He said the villa's owners lives in New York, and the short-term rentals are handled by a third party. In other words, they've hired a property management company, which I've said 100 times, be very aware of who you're letting take care of your property, make specific rules and guidelines for them to follow. Smiley added that the cleaning crew at the villa came to the neighbors and asked if an unauthorized visitor had stayed at the villa after discovering signs of an unbooked visitor. This is what happens. The rental company knows you're not here. They know you're in New York somewhere, wherever you live, and they will rent it out for a day or two to people they know and put cash in their pocket and not tell you about it. Not all of them, but a lot of them will. We hear about it on a regular basis, said Supervisor Dwayne Johnson. There is a very vibrant rental market in the villages. We all know that. The authority with regard to short-term rentals rests in the hands of state government. So unless there are complaints about excessive noise or unlawful activity, there isn't much that can be done at a local level. They can never do anything. It's just a lot of talk, no action. That's your supervisors. They can do nothing. However, the district officials indicated that the developer is looking at tightening up language and deed restrictions for new homes being built in the South. That could combat some of the short-term rental problems in the newer areas of the villages. See, that's why a lot of people are asking me all the time, so why are you selling your home and moving down there? One of the reasons could be deed restrictions. They change them to different areas. They see a problem here in this district. They go to a new district and build something. They change the language in that deed restriction to make things a little bit better down there. That's why. So whenever somebody says, well, I thought the deed says this, or the deed restriction says that, or they ask my opinion about it, I always tell somebody when you're buying a home, I always tell them, get a copy of the deed restrictions for that district. If you can't live with those, move on. Because this is what the complaint's going to be, is this right here. A resurfacing project on Stillwater Trail from Buena Vista Boulevard to Morse Boulevard is expected to begin. The work is expected to be completed within 2 weeks, weather permitting. Resurfacing improves road safety, extends pavement life, and ensures a smoother, more reliable driving experience. Stillwater Trail, that's where we had our patio villa. It's a great area. I liked it. And when we had our patio villa there, everybody there was very quiet, very, very easygoing. There was nothing ever going on there. So I don't know what's happening. Younger people moving in, causing a problem, Airbnbs, that's companies. Big dollar companies are coming in here and buying this stuff up. And they're just turning it into what once was a nice, quiet retirement community into a city with problems. A homeless man was arrested after a bizarre outburst in the Villages, which prompted residents to dial 911. Homeless. That's a government word to be kind. If we don't start calling it what it is, these things will never, ever get taken care of. He's a drug addict. That's what he is. The shirtless man wearing swim shorts was sitting on the side of the road shortly before 6 p.m. Friday, yelling and being belligerent, according to the arrest report from Lady Lake Police Department. A woman said she observed the man yelling and pacing up and down her street in the village of Silver Lake on the historic side of the Villages. The man laid down on the ground in her yard, still yelling. Another resident said he saw the man screaming and fighting with the air. The resident sent his wife back into the home, concerned for her safety. The resident had surveillance footage showing the man's bizarre behavior and shared the surveillance with law enforcement. Police identified the man as 34-year-old Dylan Tollin. Officers found that Tollin was rambling and not making any sense. If you guys can see a picture of him right there, he looks very familiar to me. I think he's been arrested 3 and 4 times. Tollin was placed in the back of a patrol car, and during a trip to the Lake County Jail, he screamed and shouted while calling the officers numerous names and curse words. He proceeded to ram himself against the partition in the squad car. He was booked at the jail on a charge of disturbing the peace. Bond was set at $1,000. A rowdy patron was arrested after causing a scene at a restaurant in the Villages. Michael Anthony Zoppi, 43, of Wildwood, was behaving in a loud and belligerent manner Wednesday night at Gators Dockside at Brownwood when a manager asked him to leave, according to the arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. A police officer attempted to escort Zoppi from the restaurant, but instead of cooperating, Zoppi yanked his arm free from the officer's grasp. He then reached over and poked the officer in the chest. Oh, I bet that was fun. The officer tried to retake Zappi's arm, but he pulled away a second time. The officer ordered Zappi to step outside, but he lunged at the officer in a very aggressive manner. After Zappi was placed in the back of a squad car, diners at the restaurant said they were very disturbed by Zappi's behavior, and some said they were afraid of what he was going to do prior to law enforcement's arrival. Zappi was arrested on a charge of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $1,250 bond. A special investigation unit served a warrant at a problem villa in the Villages, resulting in 2 arrests. The Sumter County Sheriff's Office Special Investigation Squad and Criminal Investigations Division served the warrant early Tuesday morning at 1404 Azteca Loop in the Escondido Villas near Savannah Center. The warrant had been signed by Judge Mary Hatcher. The unit found 44-year-old Kimberly Sue Varnum of Wearsdale seated in a black sport utility vehicle in the driveway. She was in possession of a white crystalline substance that tested positive for methamphetamine. Varnum was arrested with drugs earlier this year when she was kicked out of a home in the Water Oak community in Lady Lake. She was also arrested in October 2022 for violating probation in January 2022 when she was nabbed for selling drugs to a friend. The unit also found 53-year-old Thomas Edward McVeigh in the driveway. He has been living in the villa, and the investigators had reason to believe that McVeigh has been selling drugs. The Rhode Island native was arrested on 2 drug-related felony counts and a misdemeanor count of possession of drug paraphernalia. McVeigh has a long history of arrests in the Villages, including an arrest in 2014 after residents complained prompted a raid on the historic side of the Villages. The villa at 1404 Azteca Loop was the scene of a standoff last month as a result of arrest of 53-year-old Marjorie Martinka. Mark Muldoon, 61, is also a former resident of that villa. He is currently incarcerated at the Florida prison after stealing a golf cart from a villager who was at church. Muldoon had a long history of arrest prior to being sentenced to prison in 2024. And let me read you a little more update on this story. A villager earlier this week in a raid at a notorious villa allegedly tried to set up a drug sale to raise money for his bond. You see the hypocrisy here? Thomas McVeigh, 53, had been arrested Tuesday during a raid in the Escondido Villas after the Sumter County Sheriff's Office Special Investigations Squad and Criminal Investigations Division served a warrant at the villa at 1404 Azteca Loop, not far from the Savannah Center. A deputy was monitoring the villa shortly before 6 p.m. Thursday when 35-year-old Ashley Renee Carol Crowley of Bellevue arrived in a Ford Ranger pickup and parked in a nearby overflow parking area, according to the arrest report. Crowley, who has a criminal history, was known to the deputy. She was driving on a suspended license and was taken into custody. She also was in possession of methamphetamine, a glass pipe, and a piece of aluminum foil with a burnt residue. The deputy was aware that Crowley had communicated with McVeigh from a phone at the jail. During the recorded conversation, McVeigh apparently tried to coach Crowley about setting up a drug deal in an attempt to raise money for his bond. Man, these people are just downright stupid. The deputy spoke with the 90-year-old woman who owns the villa, and she gave the deputy permission to search a suspicious potted plant located next to the front door. Digging into the dirt, the deputy found an ace bandage which had fentanyl wrapped inside. The weight of the bandage fentanyl was 28.94 grams. I don't know, is that a lot, a little? I don't know. Well in excess of the amount considered to meet the legal definition of drug trafficking. McVeigh is now facing additional charges of drug trafficking. He had been held on $9,000 bond, but as a result of the new charges, he is being held without bond. McVeigh was originally taken into custody along with 44-year-old Kimberly Sue Varnum, who earlier this year was kicked out of a home in Water Oak community at Lady Lake. Varnum also has a history of selling drugs to friends. Some friend. McVeigh has a long history of arrests in the villages, including an arrest in 2014 after residents' complaints prompted a raid on the historic site of the villages. The villa at 1404 Aztec Loop was the scene of a standoff last month that resulted in the arrest of 53-year-old Marjorie Martinka. Mark Muldoon, 61, is also a former resident of that villa. He is currently incarcerated at Florida prison after stealing a golf cart from a villager who was at church. Muldoon had a long history of arrest prior to being sentenced to prison in 2024.
Florida's friendliest hometown.
A woman was airlifted to an area hospital after falling from a golf cart Saturday night in the villages. The woman had been riding as a passenger in a golf cart at about 8 p.m. traveling on Hillsborough Trail near the Manatee Recreation Center when the driver made a sharp turn, according to the information from law enforcement and eyewitness accounts. The woman reportedly had not been wearing a seatbelt. The village's public safety department responded to the scene, and the woman was put on a helicopter and flown to Ocala Regional Medical Center. In March, a passenger was transported by ambulance to the trauma center in Ocala after falling from a golf cart near the Big Cypress Recreation Center. Also in March, 60-year-old Kelly Nevitt died at Ocala Regional Medical Center after falling from a golf cart driven by 58-year-old Richard Allen Keel of the village of Rio Ponderosa. He is facing a charge of DUI manslaughter in connection with Novitt's death. A villager driving in the wrong direction was arrested after a drunk driving charge after leaving the Bonefish Grill restaurant. Elizabeth Ann Demos, 69, who lives in the Phillips Villas in the village of Woodbury, was driving a white two-door Mazda shortly before 6 p.m. on Easter Sunday when she was spotted traveling in the wrong direction on County Road 466, according to the arrest report of the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. A deputy activated his emergency lights and attempted to initiate a traffic stop, but Demo drove around the deputy's vehicle, almost causing a traffic collision. The Ohio native eventually came to a stop near the Verizon store near the intersection of County Road 466 and 301. Demo said she was on her way home from Bonefish Grill, where she consumed 2 glasses of wine with a friend. The deputy asked Demo to step out of the vehicle. However, when she got out, she nearly fell over. She struggled through field sobriety exercises and provided breath samples that registered .143 and .140 blood alcohol content. A criminal check revealed that she had been convicted of drunk driving in 2018, and in that incident, Demo also said she had consumed 2 glasses of wine at Bonefish Grill. After leaving the restaurant, she went to her boyfriend's home in the village of Bel Air and began causing problems. Her boyfriend called 911 and reported that Demo shouldn't be driving. She lost her license for 6 months and was placed on probation for 1 year as a result of that arrest. As a result of the Easter Sunday arrest, Demo was booked at Sumter County Detention Center on a charge of driving under the influence. She was released after posting a $2,000 bond. A villager is serving a 3-month jail sentence after a pair of drunk driving arrests. Robert Earl Alley, 64, of the village of Sable Chase, was sentenced this past week in Sumter County Court to 90 days in jail. His driver's license was revoked for 5 years, and he was placed on probation for 1 year. Alley's first arrest for driving under the influence came as a result of an incident in which he was found passed out in a golf cart at about 11:30 p.m. June the 5th at the entry gate of village of Bonita. He was disoriented when an ambulance crew transported him to UF Health Spanish Springs Hospital, where he spent 5 days in the intensive care unit. Medical records at the hospital later showed he had a blood alcohol content of, oh my God, 0.557 when he was admitted. Man, that's suicidal. A warrant had been issued for his arrest, but he had not been taken into custody when Alley was arrested in February after he was spotted driving a sport utility vehicle without headlights at Lake Sumter Landing. A deputy initiated a traffic stop and he spoke with Alley. The deputy could smell a very strong smell of unknown alcoholic beverage coming from inside his vehicle. Alley indicated that he had consumed 3 or 4 beers. When the deputy ran Alley's driver's license, he found that Alley was already wanted on a Sumter County warrant charging him with driving under the influence as a result of the incident in June. Alley refused to participate in field sobriety exercises, but provided breath samples that registered .290 and .285 blood alcohol content. He has been held at the Sumter County Detention Center since his arrest in February. At last week's sentencing hearing, a judge gave him credit for time already spent behind bars. Good Lord. Between drugs and alcoholics around here, I don't know what the answer is. A villager who has admitted to being a dumpster diver is in hot water over the trashy appearance of his home in Florida's
friendliest hometown.
A code enforcement hearing was held Thursday morning before a special magistrate at Lady Lake Town Hall with regard to the property of Harold Crum at 709 Megan Circle on the historic side of the Villages. A complaint about the property was lodged this past July, prompting a visit from a code enforcement officer. She found multiple chairs, inoperable golf carts, and car batteries in the front yard of the home. Crum claimed that some of the golf carts were collectibles and said he was attempting to restore them. I knew guys in Indianapolis that had old junky cars all around their house, and they was fixing every one of them, and they never got fixed. A neighbor told the code enforcement officer that he believed Crum was running a golf cart rental business out of his home. Crum also admitted he was a dumpster diver. The code enforcement officer repeatedly returned to the property over the next several months, but found that things had gotten worse, not better. Crum blamed his lack of progress on an illness and a broken water pipe. The code enforcement warned Crum that he needed to stop dumpster diving and raiding fellow villagers' trash, and bringing home more junk was making the problem even worse. The code enforcement officer later found that Crum had hidden more junk by moving a screened-in enclosure in order to accommodate the fruits of his hoarding habit. He was cited for assembling the structure without obtaining a proper permit. When confronted by a code enforcement officer over the lack of proper permit, Crum argued with the officer. Crum did not appear at Thursday's hearing. The special magistrate ordered that the property be brought into compliance by May 6th. If he fails to do so, a $50 daily fine will be imposed until it passes inspection. An intoxicated woman from Turkey was arrested after allegedly attacking her husband and snatching his Cadillac from a home in the Villages. Golden Wienekamp, 45, had been drinking when she got into a fight with her husband of 1 year on Tuesday at their home at the high-end Harbor Hills community in Lady Lake. The husband first went to a spare bedroom to try to avoid confrontation, but she forced her way into the room headbutted him in the face and struck him several times. The husband got into his black Cadillac Escalade and ultimately sought refuge at the home of a friend in the village of St. Catherine. When did our men in this country turn into such a bunch of crybabies? God. Winnicam contacted Uber and got a ride to the home in the village of St. Catherine. When the native of Turkey arrived at the home at about 9:30 p.m., she and her husband began arguing outside. Winnicamp used her cell phone to strike her husband multiple times in the face while demanding the keys to the Cadillac. She got into the Cadillac, which has vanity license plate with the letters GULDEN. Despite pleas from her husband and his friend, who all agreed she was in no condition to drive, the husband called 911. Police found Winnicamp near the village of Bradford. She identified the Cadillac as my car. She said she had asked her husband for a divorce earlier in the day. Her husband, who had a visible knot on his forehead, told police that he did not want to press charges. I'm used to it. She does this all the time. She has been arrested before, and I've even gotten stitches in my head as a result of her physical aggressions. Winnicamp had been arrested in August after an alleged attack on her husband. The case was eventually dismissed. As a result of Tuesday's alleged altercation, Winnicamp was arrested on charge of battery. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. Well, you asked for it, as they say. You don't want to press charges. You don't want to get things taken care of. You just want to continue to let her be whatever it is she wants to be. You got it. Keep it. A villager has been arrested after reportedly skip scanning at a local Walmart. One would think that these stores would learn about this scanning thing. I never do it. I'm going to say it one more time. I don't work for any store. They don't pay me to do somebody's job. I'm not taking a job away from somebody that may need that job. I demand that they have a register open for me or they can put the stuff back on the shelf. I am never, ever, ever going to scan my stuff for anybody. A villager has been arrested after repeatedly skip scanning at a local Walmart. Mark Terlecki, 71 of the village of Lake Deaton, was arrested this past week on 7 counts of theft. He reportedly went to the Walmart at Sarasota Plaza and loaded up a shopping cart with merchandise, according to an arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. He went to the self-checkout and paid for the vast majority of the item, but skip-scanned a few items during his trip to the store. On October 14, a 14-ounce Italian Hero sub sandwich from the deli valued at $6.67 and a 16-ounce great value Picante Squad valued at $1.92. I have no idea what that is. October 23, Coca-Cola Cherry Soda Pop and Equate isopropyl alcohol valued at $2.98. October 29, a 6.5-ounce Italian Herbo sub sandwich from the deli valued at $4.77. He was taken into custody and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $700 bond. I'm going to run for mayor of Sumter County. I'll be over at Wildwood, and I'm going to cut the budget of all the police departments over there and anybody else that I can influence because they're driving cars around looking for problems. They don't have to go anywhere. All they need to do is just park in a local Wawa. The criminals will come to you. A Lady Lake man wanted on a pair of warrants was arrested at a local Wawa. Jacob Michael Barton, 44, was taken into custody Saturday night by Sumter County Sheriff's deputies at the Wawa on U.S. Highway 441 in Lady Lake. He was wanted on warrants charging him with trespassing and failure to appear. At the time of his arrest, Barton had a clear glass smoking pipe in his right front pocket, according to the arrest report. It tested positive for, any guess? Methamphetamine. He was taken into custody and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on $2,000 bonds. It's amazing. The Wawa on 301 up there, 301 and 466 by the shopping center up there. That one there seems like it's just a magnet for drug-affected people to be there all the time. And cops go in there and they arrest them constantly. I don't report all of them because it gets boring. But it just seems like some of these Wawas are a magnet for these people. A villager fled her home after she was attacked by her schizophrenic son who had been drinking since early that morning. The woman said her son, 41-year-old Kevin Ryan Catton, who lives with her in the village of Moultrie Creek, began drinking at about 8 a.m. this past Wednesday. Who in the hell starts drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning? If you're drinking beer and alcohol at 8 o'clock in the morning, you have a problem. I wouldn't allow it. This is your house, Mom. Don't allow it. He became angry and grabbed her face, using his fingers to scratch the inside of her mouth. He began choking her and knocked off her glasses. The mother told police she knew she needed to get away immediately. She ran out the back patio door and sought refuge at the home of a neighbor. When the police arrived, she said her son is a veteran and suffers from PTSD as well as schizophrenia. She said his condition gets worse when he drinks. She added that he also smokes medical marijuana. I'm not sure that that's 100% true. Those of you out there that's been in the military that recruited people, let me find out something here, because I don't think this is true. There's part of this report that just don't jive with me. If you have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, are you allowed to join the military? I don't think so. So I question what she just told the cop. He was arrested on a charge of battery and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $5,000 bond. Records indicate that in 2021 he was charged in Oklahoma with burglary and harassment of a public official. An unlicensed Colombian was arrested in the Villages while driving a vehicle with a bogus tag. Jefferson Rojas Castillo, 23 of Ocala, was driving a black four-door Honda at about 9:30 a.m. Monday in the vicinity of the village of Wellpoint when an officer noticed the vehicle had a suspicious temporary tag, according to the Rescue Department of Wildwood Police Department. During a traffic stop, Rojas Castillo presented the officer with a Colombian passport. The officer, after confirming that Rojas Castillo did not have a driver's license, found that the vehicle was unregistered and was under a salvage title, which is unable to be registered. Did not know that. Rojas Castillo was arrested on charges of driving without a license and failure to register a motor vehicle. He was taken into custody and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $3,150 bond. An unlicensed Guatemalan was arrested with illicit pills in his pocket. Cesar Augusto Saliz Valente, 27 of Opapka, was driving a white panel van at about 6:40 a.m. Wednesday in the area of County Road 466A and Powell Road when a Sumter County Sheriff's deputy noticed he was not wearing a seatbelt. During a traffic stop, Saliz Valente provided his name and date of birth. The deputy found that Saliz Valente has never been issued a driver's license in the United States. Saliz Valente also had a pill bottle in his pocket which contained, I'll put the names in the picture, for which he did not have a prescription. Saliz Valente was arrested on drug charges as well as a charge of driving without a license. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $450 bond. $450 bond. Does that sound fair? Okay, how many holes in ones of golf did we get this week? Looks like 3. New golfer Beverly Carroll got her first hole-in-one while playing the El Camino Executive Golf Course. The ace was made on hole number 5. Well, congratulations on your hole-in-one there, Beverly. Robin Parks of the village of Charlotte got his first hole-in-one at hole number 2 at the Sweet Gum Executive Golf Course at 174 yards with a 7 hybrid. Love those hybrids. Congratulations on your hole-in-one there, Robin. Villager Charles Godwin got a hole-in-one March 23 at Churchill Greens, hole number 8, but it is now a bittersweet memory. Unfortunately, it was the last time I got to play with my friend Chuck Baxter, who passed away on April 3rd. He served as a golf ambassador on several courses, Truman, Roosevelt, Kilimanjaro, among others, and is truly missed, Godwin said. Okay, let's go to everybody's favorite, letters to the editor. To the editor, I repeat my mantra to all growth complainers. In 1999, the growth complaints were the same as today. Sales department said nothing will be built below County Road 466. Then County Road 466A. Then State Road 44. She's exactly right. I remember all of that. It was called the build-out. Just think, all those living below County Road 466 would not exist, and the complainers would be leaving somewhere else to complain. That's sent in by Donald Simpson from the village of Santiago. You are correct, Donald. You are correct. To the editor, what's going on with the promised rebuild, redesign of the Paradise Recreation Center and a resort-style pool? Start dates have come and gone. The longer we wait, the more expensive it will become to complete the project. Let's deliver on the promise the AAC has made. Many would like to see the completion much sooner than later so that they can enjoy it in their lifetime. Let's get to work and make this project a reality. I also understand people's concerns about amenity fees. Expenses and costs go up to deliver services and goods, hence the increases in amenity fees. A cap, even temporary, would help those living here on a budget in their retirement years. The "if you can't afford to live here, then move" is cruel. For many, they bought into a dream and promises made by them by Mr. Schwartz. Instead of telling people to move, why not be sympathetic to those being challenged financially from all directions? Maybe a cap, even just a temporary one, 1 to 3 years, would help people keep their heads above water. Permanent cap just isn't realistic. However, maybe a temporary one is doable. Maybe we start charging for guest passes, say $10 a pass. I certainly wouldn't mind paying extra for my guests to visit and enjoy what we have to offer. We charge guests to play executive golf courses. Why not the guest pass process in general? We can come up with solutions rationally and sympathetically. That's sent in by Wayne Bentley from the village of Orange Blossom Gardens. Well, Wayne, it's not that I disagree with what you say, but you're kind of contradicting yourself, I think. When you say you bought into what Mr. Schwartz promised you, okay, well, part of that was guests, and guest passes were free to come here and visit grandparents, basically, and take them to the pools and whatever. And now you're saying, well, let's charge the guests for guest passes. You see what I'm getting at? I don't want to be too critical here because I agree with 90% of everything you got on here. To the editor, I would like to know why villagesnews.com supports this group of people called the Parking Patrol, and why you continually post their photos. In this time of such division and chaos and hatred, you're only promoting more problems between people. Do something more constructive with your time and space. That's sent in by Judy Baradonero from the village of LaBelle. Hey, Judy, here's the thing about bad parking. Instead of complaining about the messenger, maybe you should complain about the person that's doing the bad parking and talk to them. There's no good reason for me or anybody to park in a handicap spot if you don't have the proper credentials. Also, if it's a striped area, all of us educated people that took the driver's test way back when all know the law says striped area means no parking. I don't care if a striped area is white, blue, yellow, red, makes no difference. That means no parking. And yet, you can go to any Walmart and find people parked right up by the sidewalk because they're lazy, basically, and don't care about the law. You can go to any of these shopping centers, and I guarantee you, every day you drive around, you'll see somebody parked in the striped area next to handicap parking. And people act stupid, like they don't know what that's for. And I have no sympathy for it at all. As a matter of fact, I think if you're parked in a striped area next to handicap parking, that should be a minimum of a $500 fine right away. Why we don't have a parking patrol here to actually have the authority to hand out warnings at first and then maybe tickets later is beyond me. But we don't. So they get by with it. Hopefully someday that'll come to an end. Because I'm tired of going to a grocery store and have to walk around a golf cart parked on the sidewalk in front of the door. And yes, it happens. There's no excuse for it. So maybe you should take your complaints to the person doing the bad parking, not the one pointing it out. But thanks for your letter. I think that's going to be the news for this week, and I appreciate everybody for coming. This news dedicated, like always, it's dedicated to my Patreon members and my YouTube members. Because if it wasn't for them, if you're watching this on Friday on YouTube, you wouldn't be getting this for free because they pay for it. And so that's why I dedicate this to them. And I really implore you, if you can, to become a Patreon member. Join at the $2 level. You'll get an invitation to my Discord link, and then that's where really the action's at. I don't even know how many people's on the Discord now, but there's a lot. And you can get on there and you can ask their opinion about things. You don't have to take my word for it. If you think that I'm full of BS, get on there for $2. Go to Discord. I'll send you the link. Get on there and ask any of them people anything you want to, and they're going to tell you what they think. I truly try to stay off of Discord as much as I can because I want you guys to talk about whatever you want to talk about when it comes to the villages. Who did you get your contractor to do this and that? Why did you find out about this or that? What is it about your district and your district's rules that you like and don't like? All these things you can ask them. That way you don't have to worry about me influencing anybody in any way. So that's what I implore you to do, and then you'll find things out. So with that being said, I'm just going to get out of here, and I'm just going to say, be well, be safe, be aware, take care of your health,
and don't leave your key in that golf cart.
This week's news is brought to you by my YouTube and Patreon members.
Hey, Skip, you suck!
Hey, Skip, Jose's delivering a coffee, and by the way, you suck!